The birth of the world. In the beginning, there was no world at all. Not the kind we know now, with skies and seas and land you can walk upon. There was only chaos. And chaos wasn't just noise or disorder, it was a shapeless mess, a heap of everything jumbled together with no reason and no balance. Imagine all the ingredients for a cake thrown into a bowl but never mixed properly, sitting there as a strange, lumpy paste. That was chaos. Hot pressed against cold. Heavy sank into light. Soft tangled with hard. Nothing belonged anywhere because nothing had a place. Then a great power, some said it was nature, others whispered it was a god, took pity on this confusion. Slowly, order came into being. The heaviest things sank downward to form the solid ground. Water wrapped around it, flowing into hollows and creating seas, lakes, and rivers. Air, lighter than water, lifted itself above. And fire, brightest and most restless, leapt to the very top, forming the sky. The world, for the first time, had layers and structure. The god, careful not to let everything fall apart again, set boundaries. He told the seas how far they could reach, pressing them against the edges of the land. He let rivers run, some to sink into the earth, others to rush into the oceans. He pulled up mountains, stretched out plains, and hollowed valleys. He commanded the earth to wear a cloak of trees, spreading forests across its surface. Above all this he set the heavens, carving them into regions, north and south, east and west, each with its own climate. Some zones were frozen in endless snow, others scorched with unbearable heat, while two in between were gentle and mild, fit for life. He set the winds free but gave each its own kingdom, lest they destroy the fragile world with their battles. The east wind, Eurus, carried the colors of dawn. The west wind, Zephyrus, brought soft breezes and the glow of sunset. The north wind, Boreas, came harsh and icy. The south wind, Auster, soaked the world in storms. When all was arranged, the skies revealed their hidden lights. Stars pierced the darkness, constellations spun, and the heavens began to shimmer with gods and their fiery homes. The seas filled with fish, the earth teemed with animals, the air fluttered with birds. But something was still missing. The animals were alive, yes, but none of them could think beyond food or survival. None could look up in wonder at the stars. None could dream. And so, humankind was born. Some believed the great creator shaped them from divine seed. Others said the clever titan Prometheus mixed clay with water and sculpted men and women in the likeness of the gods. Whatever the truth, humans stood tall, their faces lifted toward the sky. Unlike beasts, they could gaze upward, searching for meaning among the stars. The ages of the world. At first, life was perfect. This was the Golden Age, a time when no laws were needed because no one wished to do harm. There was no fear of war, no sound of trumpets or clash of swords. People lived freely, without judges or punishments. The earth provided everything without being forced, fruits and nuts, wild berries, and golden grain that grew without plow or seed. Milk streamed from the land, honey dripped from oak trees, and gentle breezes kept eternal spring alive. But time changes all things. When Saturn, the ancient ruler, was cast down into darkness, his son Jupiter seized the throne. With him came the Silver Age, a little harsher than gold. Seasons appeared for the first time, cold winters, blazing summers, shifting autumns, and fleeting springs. People now had to build houses, hide in caves or huts, and farm the soil. They learned to yoke animals and plant seeds, to bend the land to their will. After silver came the Bronze Age. People grew tougher, harder. They fought more quickly, raising weapons against each other, though still holding some respect for the gods. And finally came the Iron Age, a time of sorrow. Modesty and truth vanished. Greed and treachery took their place. Men carved boundaries into the once shared earth, shouting, "This is mine." They dug into the soil for iron and gold, dragging up the metals that would fuel endless bloodshed. Brothers betrayed brothers. Sons wished for their fathers' deaths. Wives plotted against husbands, and husbands against wives. Poison crept into cups. Daggers found their way into homes. Even the goddess of justice, Astrea, fled from earth to the stars, unable to bear the corruption. The giant rebellion. But the evil of humankind wasn't the only danger. From the earth itself came the giants, towering beings born of stone and blood. Their pride was greater than their size, and they thought themselves strong enough to storm the heavens. They piled mountain upon mountain, raising Ossa atop Olympus, Pelion upon Ossa, trying to climb to the very stars. But Jupiter, king of the gods, would not be challenged. From his throne he hurled down thunderbolts, smashing their towers of rock. The mountains crumbled, and the giants were buried beneath them. Yet from their blood, soaking deep into the soil, a new race arose, fierce, violent men, quick to kill, born of rage itself. Jupiter's anger. Jupiter looked down from his high throne and groaned. What he saw filled him with grief and fury, humans filled with crime, violence spreading like wildfire, gods mocked, justice ignored. He called a council of the gods. There is, high in the heavens, a shining road visible on clear nights, the Milky Way. Along this path the gods made their way to Jupiter's palace, brighter than any mortal kingdom. The noblest god sat close to the throne, others gathered in the great hall of marble. When all were seated, Jupiter rose. His ivory scepter gleamed as he shook his head, and his hair, heavy with power, made the earth tremble. Then he spoke. "My friends, the world is diseased. Once, I feared the giants who stacked mountains to reach us, but at least their rebellion had a single cause. Now, every mortal is corrupt. They cheat, they steal, they kill. No oath binds them, no law restrains them. Already their evil spreads across every sea and shore. I swear by the black rivers of the underworld, I will not let this stand. We have tried gentler cures. They failed. Now the sickness must be cut away entirely. The race of men must be destroyed, wiped clean, so that the earth may be healed." But God stirred uneasily. Some nodded in grim agreement. Others pitied humankind, begging Jupiter to spare at least a few. But Jupiter's anger was not softened. He had proof of humanity's wickedness, a story so recent and foul that he could not stay silent. He would tell them of Lycaon. And with that, Jupiter's eyes burned like fire, ready to recount the crime that had sealed humankind's fate. The flood and the two survivors. The world had become so corrupt that Jupiter, king of the gods, decided humans needed a reset. Their greed, violence, and disrespect had reached such extremes that the earth no longer felt safe. At first, Jupiter thought of burning the world with thunderbolts, but he feared the flames would spread even to the heavens. Instead, he chose another way, a flood. He unleashed storms like never before. The winds roared, the rain poured endlessly, and the sea swallowed the land. Rivers broke their banks, sweeping away fields, animals, houses, and people. Whole cities sank beneath the rising waters. Mountaintops became tiny islands where desperate survivors clung to life, though most couldn't hold on for long. In the end, nearly all life was destroyed. Only 2 humans remained, Deucalion and his wife, Pyrrha. They were good and faithful people, spared by the gods for their honesty and devotion. Their small boat drifted across the endless flood until it finally came to rest on Mount Parnassus, the peak that rose above the drowned world. When the waters calmed, Deucalion and Pyrrha wept at the emptiness around them. They prayed to the goddess Themis, guardian of justice and prophecy, begging her for guidance. "How can we bring back humanity?" they asked. Themis gave a puzzling reply: "Cover your heads, loosen your robes, and throw the bones of your great mother behind you." Deucalion and Pyrrha were confused. Surely the goddess wouldn't want us to disrespect our parents' remains. But then Deucalion realized the riddle: our great mother is earth. Her bones are the stones in the ground. So, they covered their heads and tossed stones behind them. Each stone Pyrrha threw softened into the form of a woman, while each stone Deucalion threw turned into a man. In time, these stone-born people repopulated the world, tougher and stronger than before, made to endure hardship from the very rocks that birthed them. Apollo and Daphne. Not long after the flood, the sun god Apollo grew proud of his role in clearing the heavens after the storm. But his arrogance angered Cupid, the mischievous god of love. Cupid mocked Apollo's boasting, then drew 2 arrows from his quiver, one tipped with gold, which sparked love, and one tipped with lead, which created disgust. Cupid struck Apollo with a golden arrow, filling him with a fiery passion. Daphne, a beautiful forest nymph devoted to a life of freedom and chastity, was struck with a leaden arrow. From that moment, she wanted nothing to do with love, especially not Apollo's. Apollo spotted Daphne wandering through the woods and instantly fell for her. He chased after her, calling out his admiration and begging her to slow down. "I'm not your enemy. I love you. Please, wait." But Daphne only ran faster, terrified of his pursuit. Her heart pounded as Apollo closed the distance. Just as he was about to catch her, she cried out to her father, the river god Peneus, "Help me. Change my form so I can escape him." Her prayer was answered. Her skin hardened into bark, her hair became leaves, and her arms stretched into branches. Apollo reached her just as she transformed into a laurel tree. Heartbroken, Apollo wrapped his arms around the trunk. "If I cannot have you as my wife," he whispered, "you will be my sacred tree." From that day, Apollo wore laurel wreaths on his head, and the laurel became the symbol of victory and eternal honor. Io transformed. Meanwhile, another story of love and jealousy unfolded. Jupiter, ever unable to resist mortal beauty, fell for Io, a mortal girl. To hide his affair from his wife Juno, he covered the earth with a thick blanket of mist. But Juno, suspicious as always, quickly discovered the trick. To protect Io, Jupiter transformed her into a beautiful white cow. Juno wasn't fooled. She pretended to admire the cow and sweetly asked Jupiter to give it to her as a gift. Trapped by his own scheme, Jupiter couldn't refuse. Juno placed Io under the guard of Argus, a giant with 100 eyes. With so many eyes, Argus never fully slept, some eyes always stayed open. Io, trapped in her new body, wandered miserably under his watch. Jupiter pitied her and called on Mercury, the messenger god, to rescue her. Mercury lulled Argus to sleep by playing his pipes and telling endless stories. Finally, when every eye was shut, Mercury struck and killed Argus. Furious at Argus' death, Juno set his 100 eyes into the feathers of her sacred bird, the peacock. That's why the peacock's tail still glitters with so many eye-like spots. But Juno wasn't done with Io. She sent a maddening fly to sting and torment the poor cow, driving her across the world. At last, Io reached the Nile and begged Jupiter for mercy. He swore by the river Styx to never pursue her again, and only then did Juno agree to lift the curse. Io returned to human form, forever marked by her suffering but honored as a goddess in Egypt. Phaeton's doubt. Far away, another young soul wrestled with questions of identity. Phaeton, son of the sun god Apollo and a mortal woman, was mocked by other boys who doubted his divine heritage. Hurt and uncertain, Phaeton went to his mother and demanded the truth. She swore by the heavens that Apollo was truly his father. Still unsatisfied, Phaeton decided he had to hear it from Apollo himself. With determination burning in his heart, he set out on a journey eastward, seeking the shining palace where the sun god rose each morning to bring light to the world. And so, Phaeton's bold quest began.